Welcome to the deep dive. We've got this really interesting mix of sources today, all focused on Mansfield, Texas. We're seeing everything from major construction projects to health updates, local leadership, even sports wins. Quite a range.
Exactly. And our job today is to kind of weave these together, see what story emerges about community investment, vitality, and, well, preparedness.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about finding those connections in what seems like just separate news items.
Okay, and speaking of preparedness, we should probably start with a pretty serious safety note. It really stood out.
Yeah, that's right. Mansfield ISD reported their weapons detection system at the high school worked as intended last week. It flagged a family member on campus.
And the outcome?
Led to an arrest, actually.
Okay.
The individual had a loaded firearm, so the district confirmed the system worked, staff followed protocol, and everyone stayed safe. Crucial stuff.
Absolutely. It really underscores that commitment to safety and planning, which honestly seems like a theme running through a lot of what we'll talk about today.
That's a good segue, actually, into the building side of things. There's some major development happening, starting with the North Texas SC Stadium.
Yeah, I saw that picture from the topping off ceremony, about 100 officials signing the beam. That feels like more than just building a stadium, doesn't it? Feels like a statement.
It really does. This place, it's set to open early 2026, and it's going to be the permanent home for North Texas SC, the MLS Next Pro team. Puts Mansfield squarely on the pro sports map.
And the owner, Dan Hunt, he called it a beacon and a field of dreams. But he also talked about the broader impact beyond just the athletes.
Right, that was key. He stressed it's not just about players. Think about all of the other jobs. Medical staff, ticket sellers, folks in management, right up to the club president. His point was, these big projects create all sorts of opportunities, and that helps unite the community.
And it takes a village, right? The sources mentioned the city of Mansfield, Moss Construction, Rev Entertainment, and TSC all working together on this.
Definitely a joint effort. Now, the stadium is, the big shiny project, but there's also investment happening at a more, let's say, grassroots level. Parks and trails, driven by what residents want.
Right, balancing the big vision with daily quality of life. So the Walnut Creek Linear Trail Phase 3B update, what's the key takeaway there, especially for safety?
Safety is the big win here. They're putting in a retaining wall and, get this, 30 concrete pillars for a trail connects directly to Oliver Nature Park. So it makes it much, much safer for people walking or biking to the park. It tackles a real pedestrian safety issue head on.
Good to hear. And for the more adventurous types, Killian Park is getting that ninja-style fitness course.
That's right. Replacing an old rope tower that was apparently broken. So
yeah.
A definite upgrade there.
And we can't forget the furry friends. Man's best field dog park sounds like it's almost done.
Getting close. And they've really thought about usability improvements to the pond and trails, a water play area, even a dog washing station, plus a pavilion and agility gear. It's tailored to what dog owners actually need and want.
That makes sense. Okay, shifting gears a bit towards the art scene, there's a new mural unveiling soon. Together as One.
Yep. October 13th, downtown near Smith and Elm, right by the Walnut Creek Linear Trail, actually.
Nice location. And what about the process? The artist, Kirsten Maywald, seemed really focused on community input.
She really was. It wasn't just her vision imposed on the wall. She held 2 town hall meetings, nearly 100 people showed up, and collaborated on the actual design.
Okay, but how do you translate input from 100 people into one cohesive mural?
Well, her goal, as she put it, was for people to drive by and feel like, hey, I had a part in that. So the art becomes this shared reflection, bigger than just one person. That kind of community buy-in is pretty powerful. So we've talked about community infrastructure, community art. Let's pivot to individual well-being. And a big topic in our sources is hypertension, high blood pressure.
Yeah, the numbers are kind of staggering. More than half of Americans over 40 have it. And the scary part is you often don't feel anything, right? No symptoms.
Yeah, that's exactly the danger. You feel fine. But meanwhile, the pressure is quietly damaging blood vessels, your heart, kidneys, even your brain. Increased risk for stroke, heart disease, kidney failure, dementia. It's serious.
The source mentioned an anecdote about a retired law enforcement officer.
Right, a 63-year-old guy.
Yeah.
Ignored advice to take his meds because he felt okay. Then he had a major stroke. It's a stark reminder. The treatment isn't about how you feel now, it's about protecting your future health.
Okay, so it's not always about jumping straight to pills, though. Lifestyle changes come first. Let's talk about those swaps.
Absolutely. Yeah. Step 1 is usually cutting back on salt, which means watching out for those ultra-processed foods that are loaded with it, and getting active. Doesn't have to be marathon training. Just 30 minutes of walking a day.
Or you can break that up, right? Like 3 10-minute walks.
Exactly. Makes it more manageable.
Yeah.
Other simple swaps. Use herbs or lemon instead of salt for flavor. Drink sparkling water with fruit instead of soda. Take the stairs, not the elevator. Maybe read a book before bed instead of scrolling on your phone helps manage stress too.
Those sound doable. Little changes adding up.
That's the idea. Increase potassium and fiber with more fruits and veggies, limit alcohol, quit smoking if you do it. All helps.
But what if those changes aren't enough? There was news about a new drug, Baxdrostat, studied in a major journal.
Yeah, this is pretty promising. If your blood pressure stays high, like over 1490, medication's usually needed, often more than one type. Baxdrostat works differently. It blocks a hormone called aldosterone.
And the results?
Pretty significant in the New England Journal of Medicine study. About a 10-point drop in the bottom number of the diastolic pressure, and potentially, maybe, a 20% lower risk of stroke and heart attack. So it's another tool in the toolbox.
Okay, good to know. All right, let's shift from body health to home health. Energy efficiency tips, especially with winter, maybe not too far off.
Good timing for that. First tip, insulation. Sounds basic, but a lot of homes are under-insulated. It doesn't just keep you warm. It helps your heating and cooling systems work smarter, not harder. Stops you from just heating or cooling the outside air.
Makes sense. Tip 2 feels like a no-brainer now, LEDs.
Right. They used to be so expensive, but now they're really affordable and last ages. Easy win.
And the third one was interesting, a power conditioner surge protector with power storage. How does that help?
Yeah, this is a bit more techie. Basically, it smooths out the power going to your appliances, especially things with motors like your fridge or AC. That little bit of stored power helps them kick on smoothly without a big energy surge. Over time, that can potentially trim your energy bill because they're running more efficiently.
Never thought about that. Okay, one last quick but really important reminder for October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And Monday, October 13th, is National No Bra Day.
Right. It's mostly a social media awareness thing, but the goal is serious. Encouraging education and, crucially, screening. It's a reminder for everyone, women and men, because men can get breast cancer too, to schedule those checkups to do self-exams. Early detection saves lives.
And the statistic is still pretty sobering, isn't it? About 1 in 8 women in the U.S. will develop it.
It is. So awareness and action are key.
All right, let's move on to celebrate some local leadership. Rita Denton, she's a Mansfield Business Alliance 40 Under 40 honoree. And her job title, wow, Executive Director of Student Nutrition, Custodial Services, and Transportation for Mansfield ISD.
That's a massive portfolio, just under 1,000 employees.
Yeah. And, you know, it strikes me these are the unsung heroes, right? The departments that make everything else possible. The infrastructure of the school day.
Absolutely fundamental. And Rita seems like she was almost born for this kind of role. She mentioned playing office as a kid, not just house. Loved ledgers and business stuff even then.
That's great. And she brought that business sense to student nutrition. Tell me about that transformation.
Yeah, it sounds pretty remarkable. When she came to MISD, the department was mostly heat and eat, opening bags, opening cans. She shifted the focus dramatically towards scratch cooking, using fresh ingredients.
And did it make a difference? Did kids respond?
Huge difference. Now over 70% of students actually choose to eat the school lunch. That says a lot. And her approach to sourcing is really clever, too.
The collaboration with the Ag Academy.
Exactly. Tarver Rendon Agricultural Leadership Academy students harvest produce, and then the kitchen team preps it right away for a fresh fruit and vegetable bar at that school. It's this perfect little loop of education, sustainability, and healthy eating.
That's fantastic. And her work doesn't stop in the summer either.
No way. She oversees a massive summer food service program, thousands of meals. They partner with the public library, which is great, offering free meals Monday to Friday for kids 18 and under.
And they added another site.
Yeah, strategically placed one at Glen Harmon Elementary. It specifically helped fill a gap for some Arlington families who needed easier access. That shows real awareness of the wider community's needs.
So with all that going on, what does she consider her proudest moment or biggest success?
You might think it's the scratch cooking or the participation numbers, but she points straight to her team's response during COVID-19. Yeah. Regulations were changing constantly. She joked about being in Phase 76, but they never stopped serving meals. They got creative, set up outdoor drive-thrus, adapted constantly to make sure kids got fed, especially when family incomes were shaky. That resilience, that service under extreme pressure, that's what she highlighted.
That really speaks volumes, true leadership. And what advice would she give her younger self?
2 things, basically. Keep studying really hard, but also soak in the moment. Don't get so focused on planning the future that you forget to experience the present. Good advice for anyone, really.
Okay, let's wrap up this deep dive with some wins on the scoreboard. Starting with Lady Tigers volleyball, they are just on fire.
On fire is putting it mildly. Their record is insane. 38-1 overall. Perfect 7-0 in district play. They're ranked nationally 29th by MaxPreps, 9th by PrepVolleyball.com. And they're riding a 22-game winning streak right now.
Wow. Any standout players driving that success? What do the stats show?
Well, it's a deep team. But the freshman, MC Crutcher, is having an incredible season. 469 kills. That's way ahead of anyone else. And then Katie Jane Mills, the middle blocker, is a defensive wall, got like 43% of their total blocks. They look ready for a serious playoff run.
Impressive stuff. Okay, football roundup. Good weekend for MISD mostly.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 teams won. Legacy, Timberview, Summit all got wins. The big matchup was in district, though. Lake Ridge beat Mansfield 44-21.
Ouch. So how does that shake up the standings?
Puts Lake Ridge and Summit tied at the top, both 4 and 1 in district play, so it's getting tight as the season progresses.
All right. And let's not forget the pro side. North Texas SC punched their playoff ticket.
They did secure the 6th seed in the MLS Next Pro playoffs, their second straight appearance, and they did it dramatically.
How so?
Came back from being down 2 goals against LASC2. Captain Sam Sarver went off, scored a hat trick in just 14 minutes. Broke the club's single-season scoring record, too, hit 19 goals.
Incredible individual effort.
Coach John Gall basically said it showed their fight, their resilience, and warned whoever they play next, they're in for a tough one.
Love it. Okay, we've covered building, health, leadership, sports triumphs. Sounds like it's time for our cocktail of the week. What are we mixing up today?
Today we have the spiced birthday bonbon, described as a grown-up candy bar in a glass. Sounds intriguing, right?
Definitely sounds like a treat. What's in it?
Okay, you'll need 1.5 ounces of bourbon, 1 ounce of dark creme de cacao, that's the chocolatey part, 1/2 ounce of cinnamon simple syrup, 2 dashes of chocolate bitters, and just a splash of 50/50 for cream for richness.
Got it. Shake it up well.
Shake it with enthusiasm. Then strain it into a glass and garnish with some fresh grated nutmeg and maybe a cinnamon stick if you're feeling fancy.
Perfect. And the toast for this week.
Let's toast to growing older without growing dull. And maybe toast to all the people who've poured into our lives, making them strong, sweet, and unforgettable, just like a good cocktail.
Cheers to that. #outro. All right, what a deep dive. We covered a lot of ground today, from that North Texas SC Stadium being called a beacon for the future to potentially life-changing news about that hypertension drug, Baxterstat, and down to the really inspiring story of Rita Denton transforming school lunches from just heat and eat to scratch cooking.
Yeah, and if you pull back, you see this thread, don't you? This theme of foundational services. We see the big, exciting projects like the stadium or the mural, and we celebrate those. But underlying all that success is the strength of the basic, often overlooked infrastructure.
Like the improved trails, making things safer, or the critical work of those school departments, nutrition, custodial transportation, led by people like Rita Denton, especially seeing how they stepped up during COVID, even the safety tech at the school.
Exactly. Which leads to a final thought for our listener to maybe ponder. How do we as communities make sure we're truly valuing and investing in those foundational services and celebrating the leaders who manage them day in and day out? Because ultimately, they're the bedrock that allows everything else, from school success to those sports wins, to really thrive.
That's a really important point to think about. Okay, and one last thing, don't forget our trivia question. The Mansfield Public Library started back in 1929, bounced around small spaces until 1960. The question is, who was Mansfield's very first librarian? Dig into that local history. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.